Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. I believe I'm a complete, just utter different person altogether. Now, all these illnesses are gone and I'm in a different class. I'm going to breeze through this fight. That was Hughie Fury from an interview where he was being asked about his chances for the upcoming fight with WBO heavyweight champ Joseph Parker. Got to say, wow, shots fired on that front. I'm surprised the comments have slid so far under the radar. But I'll breeze through this fight. Interesting to say the least. I mean, I do like to hear him say that. I mean, he hasn't sounded convincing at all so far. This fight does need some spark. Joseph Parker and Hughie Fury are obviously both a little bit reserved. They brought Tyson Fury in to help out at the press conference, but even then he didn't do too much. So good to hear Hughie Fury say this because at the press conference, well, overall, he was, there was no signs of life. So I'm glad to see some signs of a pulse. I'm glad to see he's not a listless robot. I mean, my read on his comments is, of course he has to say this. You'd expect nothing less. He's got to say this sort of stuff. I mean, while his cousin Tyson was telling anyone who'd listened that this Joseph Parker and fight with his cousin Hughie is a 50-50 fight, that's what Tyson Fury is saying. Hughie, he's got to exude confidence. Otherwise, what's he coming for? He has to say this, and I think some of us were starting to wonder because of his reserve and listless sort of comments that he didn't even believe his own words. So I'm really pleased to hear him actually saying this sort of thing because if he can't get up for it, then he shouldn't bother coming. I mean, if you actually look at this, he should actually have some advantage going into the fight because it's going to be on his home turf. All know that he pulled out of the fight in May. He was meant to come to Auckland, but he didn't. He pulled out with a back injury. Whether it was suspect or not is now moot. Doesn't matter. The fight has been rescheduled and it's in Manchester on September 23rd. I believe that his best chance of winning this fight, and I'm not going to go into a massively detailed breakdown here, I'll save that for another day, but I believe his best chance to win is he has to outpoint Parker. I don't think he's going to knock him out. I don't think he's got the power. His 50% KO ratio would indicate that he can't get it done. And remember, though, that 50% ratio is largely achieved against mostly wastemen. As I've stated in previous videos, I think we're going to see a more aggressive Joseph Parker. He needs a really good performance to boost his profile and, by default, his career. Especially if Team Parker is lining up some big money fights in the UK, as they have indicated. He's got to have a good showing. There's a lot of fans out there at the moment, and this is excluding the loyal Joseph Parker fans who do believe in him. But there's a lot of fans out there at the moment who are questioning Joseph Parker following the Razvan Kijana fight. Didn't look that great. He went head hunting most of the fight, and Kijana didn't even really look rock. So a lot of people were like, well, he didn't look that good. I mean, in my view, he looked a little bereft of ideas when he couldn't get him out of there. He didn't really know what to do next. I mean, I would have thought he should have been breaking him down and really working that body, trying to chop the tree down. But it seemed to be it was the head or nothing. So in the end, obviously, he backed off in the later rounds of that fight. I think he was a little bit gassed in those later rounds too. But Kijana, he didn't offer anything. And I think that was part of the trouble. He was so defensive and so limited. Parker didn't have the opportunity to look good at him. It's not like he could really sort of counter the guy because the guy was throwing nothing out. He was waving out the jab time to time, and then I think was it the 10th or the 11th round? He showed signs of life, but by then it was too late. It was Parker's fight. And you could see by then that Parker decided, well, I'll just take this easy. I'm going to make sure I get the result and I can keep the belt. So back to the Hughie Fury and Joseph Parker fight in September. It's hard to know how much spice we'll really see in the build-up, but probably not a whole heap. It's just not really in their nature. I think it's going to be mostly respectful and somewhat like this Fury comment. It'll be confidence rather than outright trash talk. If we were to see a whole bunch of trash talk, I'd be highly surprised. But I was pleasantly surprised to hear the conviction in Fury's voice. So what do you think is going to happen? I'd really like to have a conversation about this. So drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe. I'm out.